I've been speaking this entire time with my mic on mute. I hate life. Well, let me start over again. What I was saying was Anime Expo is coming up, and I have a lot of things to do. Even though this year, for the first time in maybe like the last a couple years, I'm not actually remaking, not remaking. I'm not making any big builds from scratch for Anime Expo. I'm using a lot of the cosplays I already have, but some of them, most of them are getting some upgrades. The one I was talking about that is the most annoying to do is the Jinx Wig, because I've made so many Jinx Wigs in the last like 2 years that I'm like dreading it, and there's blue hair all over my apartment yet again. But this is what that was. This is the naked wig that's all cut up and shaved so I can turn this into like a helmet wig for the 2XKO Jinx, because Arcane Jinx doesn't have any need to be a helmet wig, but the 2XKO Jinx has the Dutch braids that go higher up. So even though this is not going to have structure because it's not a ponytail wig and it's not going to have to carry any weight, I am still going to make it a helmet wig so it looks really nice. And then this is going to get covered in what's the word I'm looking for? Batting. That's the word I was looking for. This is gonna get covered in batting. And then dyed or painted blue, so there's a blue base. And then I'm gonna make it so that it looks like hair is coming up into the braids. Make sure there's like some nice volume in there. And then do the braids. And I'm probably going to steal the existing braids from my old wig and just attach them to this one, because I was thinking ahead last time and I made those very easy to work with. I glued all the hair onto yarn, and that yarn can be taken off that wig and put onto this wig really easily. Or if I kept them on that wig, it just would have been very easy to rebraid and restyle. So I had a moment of genius there. So that should make it easier. But this is the whole trust the process situation, and we'll see how that goes. The other wig, I actually did love how it turned out. The only reason why I'm remaking it is because I didn't size it very well, so it was really big on my head. I actually had to, when I wore that at Evo, I had to stuff like tissue paper or like toilet paper in the wig to keep it in place because it was so big that it was like, like shifting around. And it was also digging into the back of my neck, which actually gave me a scar there. So that I do want to fix that. I want to make it the correct size so it is not painful to wear, or at least less painful, because let's be honest, all Jinx wigs are painful. That's a lot of hair that you're carrying on your head. But that's the plan for that one. But what I was saying about Nico Robin was I'm going to bring her to Anime Expo. I mentioned it at a previous stream, I think, and she's pretty much done. I just decided not to bring the coat that I made, that I bought for her. So I am basically going to be wearing just a purple outfit that I made, and then do the purple outfit for her. That means I will have to make the little armband, which should be very easy to do. I just need to get on it, model the little thing. I'm trying to decide if I want to do the version that says BW for Baroque Works, or if I want to do the N for Nico Robin, but I'll decide on that. And I wanted to do the purple boots with it, but I might just wear the white ones I made for the other outfit, just because I don't want to buy new shoes. I don't have the space for it. I don't have the budget for it. We can skip the shoes. I love matching the shoes to the cosplay. I do love the little details, but this time I think I'm just gonna skip that. But what I might do, and I'm debating if I should do it or not, is I do want to make the outfit I have a darker purple, which would mean that I would have to dye it. But the outfit is made, so I'm like scared that I'm just gonna ruin it if I try to dye it now. We'll see. I might try with a little scrap fabric that I have left from that project, and then see how that goes, and then attempt it. Because I don't want to ruin the outfit I have. I also have the white trim glued and sewn onto the skirt. So I would have to figure out how to not get that dyed along with the skirt. See if I can remove it somehow. Might also make the skirt a little bit shorter. There's a lot of little things that I could do to make that costume better. But otherwise, it is completed. Like, at least I don't have to scramble for that. I might have to do the cowboy hat though. And I am debating for that one as well. I could buy a fall leather cowboy hat on Amazon and then dye it purple with some leather dye. Or not leather dye, leather paints, which would work better on that. Or I do have a bunch of stretch fabric, like faux leather stretch fabric that is in violet color at home that I can use to cover EVA foam with and make a cowboy hat out of EVA foam. There are really good templates for it online from beautiful, amazing craft people, so I don't even have to bother making one because I really don't want to make a pattern for a hat. I would rather just pay the $5 and have peace of mind and get a template. So I might do that. That would also mean that I would be using the foam I have at home, which is probably better. It's more budget friendly and more sustainable. I just don't know how well it's gonna look. I'm a little skeptical. Yeah. I also did what my White Robin hat, gold chain going around the edges of the hat that I really like instead of like a piping or ribbon or any other like fabricy trim. I do like the chain, the metal chain that's gold. That chain was very expensive, and to cover the entire hat, I had to get two of them. I don't know if I want to spend that money to get that again. I would have to look into if I can get the one on the white hat and put it onto the purple one temporarily and then switch it again, potentially. We'll see. I should be able to do that, but those are the plans for Anime Expo. And then I had like a brief moment of impulse crafting last week. I actually, it was because I saw that a few of the Final Fantasy voice actors are going to be at NostalgiaCon this weekend. So I was like, do I go check it out on Friday? Impulse trip to OC to see the peeps, but kind of decided not to do that. But I was like, if I did went, I would want to wear Tifa, which I should also be working on Tifa because I do want to upgrade her. I just haven't had the motivation. So that became my motivation, and I started working on some of her arm armor again. I did a whole bunch of sanding and filler primer. I also covered some of like the very small details. You can kind of see it with tape because I'm going to do a second coat of filler primer, and I don't want to get them, I don't want them to get filled up with filler primer because I want those details to show really clearly, and they're not very deep, so I don't want them to get filled. For this one, I think this little piece has a bit of a texture from what I've seen in the images and like the model I have, where it looks almost like sanding paper texture, or like if you were to like glue a bunch of sand on this and then paint over it, like grainy. That's the word I'm looking for. This part looks very grainy, and then the red dots are pretty smooth. So I am thinking of ways in which I could potentially do that for this one. I could probably maybe not sand, or I could use sand, do the thing where I said where I actually glue on sand on here. There's some spray paints that do have like a texture like that, so I might look into those. Or other materials. I'm thinking of like what has like a dusty consistency with like larger particles that could get glued on here. But I'll look into it. I'm sure there's a bunch of crafts stuff, because I know people use like faux like moss or grass or whatever for their minis. I don't want to use something that's like flock, but something adjacent. So We'll see. I'll see what my options are. I'm still debating on that one. I might also stare really hard into the reference images and be like, no, it's not grainy. I was just imagining that. I haven't checked, actually. I should do that. I do have an image saved here. No, it does look a little grainy. Yeah. Yeah. Ever so slightly. I might be able to get away with the paint. The paint that they have at Home Depot that has the built-in grain. Anyway, so that's one piece I'm trying to figure out. This is the easiest one. It's almost done. This is the upper arm part. I just need to make a band for it and paint it. Also just making sure that this top part is filled up nicely so it's smooth and doesn't have holes. But I think this is almost pretty much ready. If I hit it with another, there's a bit of small holes here. I might need to fill that up again with construction putty. But I think after that it's going to be ready for one more coat of filler primer and then paint. What else? Where's the big piece? Oh, it's right here. Yeah. So making this one as well. Again, I covered the little runes that are etched on it with tape before the second coat of filler primer because I don't want them to get filled. This entire part at the top is just going to be painted black, and also be behind this section so nobody's really going to see it. I still sanded it and filled it, but it's definitely, it doesn't have to be perfect. Although I might hit this part again if it looks like it has too many holes. Because that's where I printed it this way. So that's where all the supports were for the uneven surface. So I might need to rework that filling a little bit. And when I say fill, I am using a filler primer, but I'm mostly talking about the red stuff, which is construction putty. What else? Ooh, I had a moment of genius with this one. So this is the materia glove that she has. I also kind of failed with the holes because what I had hoped for was using little LEDs to light it up, and these work with the, I don't think I have one here right now, or do I? No. They work with the small circular watch batteries, the super flat ones. So it's easy for me to fit one of those in here. I actually made a spot for it. I kind of just printed this out, like the front and the back, and then started with it in my hand, figuring out how to do the inner electrical connections and setup instead of beforehand, because I wanted to physically see how big it was going to be. Usually I plan ahead or use this as like a test print and then make another version where I model in the inner structure. But this time I was like, I just use Warbler. I have a lot of Warbler left from a previous project. So I made that little slot. So how this works is the little battery just like slides in here, and it's enough to just keep it in place without it moving around. I just need to make sure I solder all the wires and everything to it. And it's gonna be like I am making a switch system for it. It's really hard to explain without showing it, and I don't have it here and I don't want to go get it. But basically I have these like ever so tiny little switches that are like magnetic. So when you like put them together, they kind of clip on together and complete the circuit instead of being like an actual switch. So I'm going to use those in here to make sure I can like, I guess, plug in the battery and unplug it to use the lights so the battery doesn't get drained. But other than that, it's not going to have like a very conventional, easy to change battery system or a switch because the space here is just very, very tiny. And the holes I made after this was printed, so I can put the LED lights through. Which one is a good example? Right now, neither of them are working because I did try to close the holes. But the idea was that this was gonna like fit through there. Oh, there we go. And then the little metal part would have been like sticking out here, and then I would like connect it to whatever circuit I was making. The problem with that is this is on my wrist. So if I did it that way, the metal prongs or bits that do carry the electricity would be touching the glove. I guess not my skin, but the glove and me. So I didn't want to do that. Even though the current in this is very small, it would probably be fine. I didn't want to do that. So instead, I opened up holes at the top. So what happens now is this goes from the front instead of from the back in. It goes in from the front, and I'm gonna have to bend these prongs to go up through that hole and come out of the back. And then they're gonna get connected to the battery and like the switch system I'm making. I hope that made sense. I feel like I made it more confusing than it's supposed to be. But that's kind of like the light system I'm making for this. So each materia slot is going to have one LED, and then these LEDs are white. So I'm going to have to change the color of the actual materia gems that I'm going to either purchase or make out of resin to change the color of the materia. So we'll see how that turns out. But I also did like a lot of priming and sanding. I just filled these up, so the filled parts are not sanded yet. I need to do that. This is the back. Yeah. And here's the moment of my genius with this. I was trying to figure out how to put this on, because there is no like realistic way you would be able to put this on the way it's constructed. Because normally, like, this side at the bottom here is one piece and it's connected to the top, even though the top is two pieces. So how would you even open it up like this if it's a single one loop? It has to be like cut in the middle. And even if it was, it's just like it's physically impossible to open it and close it that way while keeping everything aligned. So instead, what I did was some magnet magic. You see here on the edges, those are all like 3mm diameter and 6mm height, I think, magnets stacked on top of each other and like super glued onto the bracers. I have them on both sides. So now, if you do that, they just stay together. Look at that. Yeah. That's pretty strong. I don't trust it on my wrist to like stay. If I hit it anywhere, it's probably gonna fly off. So what I'm gonna do is, in addition to those magnets on the interior here, I already added one. Like you can see, this is a fridge magnet, one of those like flexible thin ones. So I'm either gonna keep that and put another corresponding magnet on my glove, or I am going to glue like on the edges Velcro and on the glove so it can just like Velcro on. So it's extra secure and it's not breaking on me. But I was gonna say something about that. Oh yeah, the problem with the magnet, this magnet, the reason why it didn't work super great is, I'll show you, is because if you look at it, there we go. Like at the shape, there's a gap here. And at the bottom too, there's a gap here. So the only parts that are actually touching or would be touching the glove are the sides, the very sides. So I need whatever Velcro or whatever magnet on the sides, and the ones in the middle don't really work. This is for Tifa. This is the original Tifa from Remake and Rebirth, the original outfit for her. So I do already have the cosplay. I am just remaking a lot of the parts of it myself in the way I want them to be. So this is gonna turn into that. I'm really excited to see how this turns out. But that's the plan for this one. And then I have two separate ones of the other bracelet she wears underneath. Because I had to scale this up quite a bit. I think I put it to like 120% instead of 100% of what the in-game model was. because of these material slots, it just wouldn't fit my wrist because they're protruding inside too much. But this, I made this 120% as well because that part was 120. So I was like, I should like keep the proportions, and it was too big. So this is, I think, like 105 or like 110, and I think it's like almost perfect. It could be tighter because I don't think it slides on her wrist, but then I wouldn't be able to put it on because I'm, even with this one, it just has like an opening and I just like slide it in and out, but it hurts a little bit because it's very tight. Yeah, I have the material slots. I don't know if you caught that, but I was talking about how I'm gonna use little LEDs to actually light the materia up. So we'll see how that goes. What else? Oh, yeah, there's a little cover for it after I finish up setting all the stuff in it. I'm just gonna click this into place, hopefully, and it'll stay. It should stay. Those are all the main cosplay items I'm working on. I also do need to make her shoes, but I've been just lazy about that one because I already made her shoes once and I didn't like how they turned out, so I'm gonna make them again. I just don't have the motivation to do it just yet, and that's okay. I'll get to it. One more fun thing, which is just the concept for you to imagine, is I haven't told anyone this yet, but I am going to be making Jester from Critical Role or the Mighty Nine, Lollipop. And her lollipop is a spiritual weapon. At lower levels, it is just a lollipop. And higher levels, it is a lollipop that is serrated. Like it has a blade around it. So I want both. I can't decide. I want both. So I was like, what if I made a mechanism where like the blade pops out and then like folds back in? And I tried so many different things in my mind of like how I would do that. And I came up with this thing. Well, I didn't come up with this thing. This is a mathematical something that someone made. But I came up with the idea of using this for that. This was like a free model on Colts 3D or 3D Colts 3D. I always forget which way it's ordered. Anyway, on that website, someone posted this to be like, oh yeah, in your math classes, you can teach children about something circle. I don't remember what it was called. So I got it, and I'm gonna modify it to be the mechanism for my blades. Because what this does is, hold on, it's hard to do it, but there you go. See? Do you get the vision? So imagine this is the lollipop, and these are all like little blades coming out of it. If I were to close this down inside the lollipop, the blades would just retract in. And then if you push it, it pushes out the blades. And I'm already testing with like how that push mechanism is gonna work. I'm probably just gonna make it like a manual like lever where in the staff of the lollipop you're gonna like push the little tiny lever, almost like a light switch but longer, probably like this long, like up, and then this is going to like open up and then you pull it back down and then it closes up. I did come up with a way to make it operated by a spring, so then it would just spring up. But it was harder if I did that to be able to like get the blades back in there, because I would have to like push from the blades, all the blades to the inside instead of like pulling down the lever and try to lock it back into place. Which I feel like the blades, if they're like super thin, they might be too fragile to like push on. So I don't know if that would work very well. And I think the sliding mechanism is going to give me a lot more control of how I want that to work. So I think I'm going to go with that. Might lose the wow effect of like pushing a button and like having blades jut out, but it'll be structurally a little bit more intact, I think. Strong. You get what I mean. But yeah, this thing is really fun. This is definitely not. I already printed another set of these that is scaled up. So I'm going to test on a cardboard how much exactly I need them to move down, how much of it to close for the blades to be hidden, because I want it to be as minimal as possible so I don't have to make a giant lever that goes all the way up and down. And it's just like a quick, move of the hand. So we'll see. There might also be a way of like using some engineering magic and like, you know how like if you push something from like farther away, you have more leverage and then like it's easier to like push it versus like from like close from like a point that's closer to it. There was something like that. So maybe there's a way of like calculating some stuff and like being like, oh yeah, if the length of the thing that's pushing it is this much, you actually have to push less or blah blah blah. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I'm literally just working based off of trial and error. So if you do know something like that, do let me know. But otherwise, I'm just gonna mess around with it until I figure out a way that works. I'm gonna get a cardboard, cut it out in a circle that I think is gonna be the size of the lollipop, put this in the middle of there, duct tape it, and then push it around until I figure out the length and structure I like. That's the plan. But yeah, I'm excited for it. Otherwise, it's been on hold because I was working on Tifa, but I'll get back to it. I'll get back into it hopefully soon. Yeah, I think that's all I think that's all the cosplay stuff I have. And actually, I have been recording this so far because I do want to post. I do want to start making like long form video. And I was thinking I am doing the streams anyway, might as well use them to maybe post on YouTube if people are interested in seeing stuff like this. See someone work through engineering problems that are not qualified to work through. It might help someone. So that's where it's at. And then the Buster Sword is still in pieces in my cosplay room. We'll get back to that too at some point. What else did I have in mind for today? I think that was it. I think that's pretty much it.